Hey, what's up? This is Cory Wong.
And I'm Don Carr.
We're here at Sweetwater talking about Stratocasters today.
Heck yeah, man, that's what we do.
I'm a Strat guy, you're a Strat guy.
I am a Strat guy.
Now, one of the things that we're going to talk about in particular is my Cory Wong signature Fender Stratocaster. But part of that story is modding instruments and why we want to customize things. Because when I made my signature Stratocaster, the world was my oyster. Fender said, what do you want? Literally any lane, every department, you get to choose whatever you want, which obviously is an incredible thing that I was honored that they would ask me to do this project and collab with me on this. So I had a lot of things in mind as far as modding my Strat. I don't know everything about this Strat. I don't know what it is. I can see the Seymour Duncan logo kind of worn away from years of playing, I can tell. But let's talk about our Stratocasters.
Let's do, because I mean, that's something that everybody has done, right? Everybody that's bought a Stratocaster has done something to it. You change the switch, or
Yeah.
you put different colored knobs on it or something, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the ultimate sort of Model T, do whatever you want to it. So for me, the first thing that I wanted to do was I wanted specific sounding pickups.
Yeah.
So these are Seymour Duncan, these are classic stacks. They're from,
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're from like 1996.
Okay.
So they're, it's changed a little over the years,
Yeah.
not much,
Yeah.
a little bit. And so these kind of have a particular little thing to them. So that was one of the first things for me was to, get the pickups sounding the way I wanted them to sound.
Yeah, the pickups in this one are also Seymour Duncan.
Right.
And these are based off of the Antiquity Surf pickups. So those are the pickups I was using for years. That's what I had in my Strat. And I love the clean tone on those. The Seymour Duncan Antiquity Surf set. I don't remember what the other one is. I just know that the Surf ones are the ones that I used. And to me, those were incredible for clean tone. But I wanted to develop something that would also kind of give the mid-range bite in overdrive that I desire. So we ended up winding them a little hotter and actually used Alnico 4 magnets.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Which I don't know any other pickups that are Alnico 4. I don't know technically what the difference is between 3, 4, 5. I just know we tried about 7 or 8 different sets of pickups and it's like, oh, those ones. It's like, oh, those were the Alnico 4s. Weird. Cool.
Yeah, good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. So how's the bridge in comparison to the other two? Are they all kind of equal, or is the bridge a little different, or?
Well, these two are the same. The bridge is actually a stacked humbucker though.
Oh, okay.
So for me in a Stratocaster, that was always the first thing that I would mod is the bridge pickup, because although a lot of people, that's what they like about the Stratocaster, I thought it's a little too thin, it's a little too bright compared to the neck pickup. Now, of course, there's still inherently some of that because of where it's placed, but I wanted something that was going to be a little more balanced, especially when I'm playing. So if I play, I still want to have some level of oomph to it. So versus with the pickups that were in my original Strat years ago, that bridge tone was way brighter, a lot less low end. So it kind of, when I'm playing chords, it balances out.
Yeah, everything sounds really even.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
It really does,
Yeah.
which is super nice, man. And I know you're like a position 4 guy anyway,
Yeah.
so these two are kind of the magic for you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's the magic. But I actually, in lead guitar land, I live a lot in second position, maybe because I'm so Vince Gill and John Mayer influenced that
Yeah.
I just like that sort of. And what helps give that a little more body to match the 4th position sound is the fact that it is a stacked humbucker. Yeah.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, super nice.
Okay, tell me about the neck and fingerboard on yours. Anything,
Okay.
what's been done from the neck upwards?
Man, this is all new. This is this is an 87. This guitar is an 87. Well, this clearly is not a 1987.
Yeah.
Right. So I actually wore out the fretboard. I had so many fret jobs.
Wow.
And refrets. The fretboard is down to where it's just paper thin. There's nothing left to put a refret on. So I thought, all right, it's time to get a new neck.
Yeah.
So this is one of the Fender roasted necks.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great, man. And this is honestly, this is a stock neck from them. This is not like
what shape?
There's nothing special. This is it's like a modern C kind of shape.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's the modern C. It's their standard frets. It's a 9.5 radius.
Yeah.
You know, just their standard thing, man.
Yeah.
And it was great just right out of the box. You know, obviously, you know, you got to do some fret work on it and stuff, get it set up and get it connected to the guitar right. But yeah, it's killer, man.
Cool. Yeah, I decided to go. Fender recently made the Ultra series.
Yeah.
And it kind of introduced this modern D-shaped neck that I had never felt before. It's a little bit thinner this way, still rosewood fretboard, 22 frets. I'm a 22 frets guy.
Yep, got it.
Which actually has saved me a lot of money. Reason being, there are no vintage Stratocasters with 22 frets. It was like a deal breaker for me. I don't know why 22 frets is a deal breaker for me on a Stratocaster. So anytime I went to go try out a vintage Strat, it's like, oh yeah, this is amazing. It sounds awesome, but I gotta have 22 frets. I didn't even realize that 22 fret Strats didn't exist till, well, I don't know when. 80s? 90s?
I'd say 80s. Well, mine was a 22. But it's weird. It was the original neck. It almost has like a little lip hanging over the edge of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, sometime in the 80s. American Standard, 87 is like third year of American Standard or something.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, so I needed 22 frets. I went with the medium jumbo frets, which I like just the feel of. There's a consistency with them, I guess. I don't know if that's the right word, but the feel of the neck is really fast because it's that modern D-shaped neck. And I went with locking tuners. They're more expensive. Like, again, it's like my original Strat had just whatever stock ones. It's fine, but then I upgraded to locking ones, and that's what I like on this. Just because it holds the tuning better. It's actually easier to restring. And I just like it. And maybe you've noticed, maybe not. The headstock on this is 3% bigger than the average Fender Stratocaster headstock.
I actually did notice that. There's a couple other things we're going to get to too, but yeah. But the headstock was one of the things I noticed. Okay.
It's about sustain. The amount of wood on the top of the fret or on the top of the neck, I felt like it gave me a little bit more sustain. I had him try just a regular one, a little bit of a smaller headstock, a little bit of a bigger headstock. The sustain, I felt the notes were singing a little bit better with the slightly larger headstock, which then we can transition to the body of the guitar actually being the opposite. So the body of the guitar is like 3% smaller than the average Strat. And a lot of it has to do with where it's contoured, the fact that it's got this kind of Fender Ultra style, the modern shape things where it's contoured heel and even shaped in, so my hand just kind of goes right in there, makes it a little bit lighter weight. But then what I noticed is we started shaving stuff away, making the guitar body a little bit smaller. What I noticed is the transient of the guitar, this sort of that real precise attack thing. It actually, the attack felt a little more precise and a little faster. There's something about it that I couldn't explain other than it just felt like it matched the rhythm guitar thing much better. Then, come to realize, the R&D department at Fender's like, this is so weird that you're asking me this stuff. And I was like, why? Like, we're going to talk about it when you're done with the project. But there's something that's so strange of why you're asking this. It's amazing. It's like, okay, whatever. It's kind of cryptic, but all right. So we finish the guitar. And I was like, all right, what's the deal? Why was it weird that I wanted the smaller body? They said, Nile Rodgers, when we did the custom shop remake of the Hitmaker, was asking for the exact same stuff. He said there's something about rhythm playing. His Hitmaker is just a tiny bit thinner, smaller than the average Strat. And they made a custom remake of his guitar. He picked it up. the first prototype is like, it's too heavy. They're like, oh, we'll try different wood, blah, blah, blah. And then they did another one. It's like, I don't know what it is. And he's like, wait a minute. The body's too big. It doesn't feel the same. So they made the body a little bit smaller, and he's just like, the attack of the instrument is changed. So I don't know why I thought that, why Nile Rodgers thought of it. It's just, it is what it is. We both found that exact same sort of thing completely independently, and Fender was like, okay, we just trust that this is real now. You both asked the same thing, you both had the same hunch, and your prototypes both were proven to give you what you wanted. So it's kind of crazy that...
Yeah, it's kind of a formula now,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
And I'm not saying that like you go even smaller, it's going to be even like there's obviously a threshold of that sort of thing. But it was interesting for me to find out through experimentation of different body sizes, different contours, what I felt really gave me the sound, and that immediate, this is where it you know, I could pick up your guitar, I'm going to sound like me, but this guitar is going to pull me out in a much more effortless way.
Sure. I mean, because that's always the thing, is it's like you use the instrument to, you know, to speak your voice for you.
Yeah.
Basically. And man, anything you can do to the instrument to dial it down, to get it more in tune with what you want it to do, how you want it to respond. And so much of it is about feel.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, because sonically, you know, Strats, you know, sure, man, they all sound sort of in the same realm.
Sure.
Man, the feel is everything, and that's what you use to perform.
Yeah.
You know, and create and write and everything, man.
Totally. What's the deal with the body on this? You said it's an 87?
This is an 87. This is just a stock 87 body Torino red. Oh my gosh, this thing is this cracks me up, man. It is so. I'm going to show you something funny on here. It is so worn out. That is not a smudge. That is under the clear coat.
Oh, okay.
That looks like somebody's fingerprints under the clear coat. Like the clear coat has fallen away so much.
I'm so distracted by something else right now.
I know.
What is this?
Yes, right?
I'm gonna. Okay, finish your clear coat thing. All right, yeah, cool, clear coat. But what is that?
That is a trim stop, and I, for the life of me, cannot remember the brand. Hey, anyone out there, if you know what this is, let me know. I've searched and searched.
Like the inside of a Rolex.
Another one. Exactly. And it's gold even, which is great, right? Well, what it does is it's a trim stabilizer, so when you bend strings, right?
Yeah.
Trim's not moving, but it moves.
Well, turn it upside down and do that again. Let's see what that does.
You move the bar, so.
Yeah. Okay, I see what's going on.
Yeah, so it's a stabilizer. So because I do a lot of oblique bends and sort of like, you know, held bend stuff.
And that helps with that?
Oh yeah, it keeps it all in tune. Same kind of thing that you're doing probably with the bands. Well, no, the bands are more like for resonance probably, right?
Yeah, so I use 4 springs to kind of lock it in a little more. But I just, for whatever reason, I don't know why I use a hair binder. It's like kind of elastic, so it has a little bit of give. Yeah. But I use this, again, I'm a transient sucker as a rhythm guy. The sympathetic vibrations of the springs, to me, I've always thought like, it's kind of characteristic of a Stratocaster, but for me, what I'm doing, I want it to feel a little more like a hardtail.
Yeah.
When it's just, you just hear that and you don't have the decay of the springs added on to every attack. Right. I want it to hit and release.
Yeah, if you want it dry, you want it to be dry. If you want it wet, you can, you know, put verb on it. But no, I hear you, man. I hear you. That's a thing, and that's why the back cavity is off of this one.
Yeah.
Same thing, because with the cover on it, it's like, woo,
yeah.
You know, even with 2 springs and this deal. So yeah.
I don't use the cover on mine. I always take it off.
Yeah. Man, I've got a couple of guitars I'm going to try that on. Thank you.
Yeah, you should check it out. Just try it, because it, especially if you're sitting at home, maybe that's where I notice it more, but once I crank an amp, it's just start to hear that sort of thing. And maybe if I was primarily lead, secondary rhythm, maybe it would be a different story, but because I feel like most of what I do and most of where I like to live is in the rhythm realm, I just got to cater to that, you know. And, you know, it's kind of the updated, upgraded bridge and that sort of thing. I don't, I've tried some guitars where with different bridge pieces, but this is I guess it's the vintage style, right? That's the one that I like.
It is, man. That's the vintage style. That has a very, very particular tone, man. Those bent saddles really have a very particular tone to them. And
How would you describe it different than those?
this is the Graphtec. These solid Graphtecs have a little more mass, right?
Sure.
I mean, than the Graphtecs that are just all their graphite formula. This has got the graphite across here. This is closer to that. Man, that's got more ping.
Really?
That has definitely got more ping to it.
Okay.
Probably more snap in general. I use this guitar. I use it to cover a lot of different sounds.
Yeah.
And so I'm tending to find that I'm rolling off that ping anyway.
Sure.
So this was just kind of a step in that direction.
Yeah.
You know.
Cool.
But yeah, yours definitely have the smack.
Yeah, I
man.
like to have the snap to it.
Got it, man.
Yeah. Okay. Finish. So my guitar that I had when I was a teenager was a Highway 1.
Dude.
So that's a lot of people think, oh, your guitar is based off of a Highway 1. Really, the only thing Highway 1 about it is the fact that it's nitro finish in this color that was kind of a Highway 1 color, modified just a tiny bit. But yeah, to me, it's this. I like this sort of nitro, non-clear coat thing. But totally just a personal preference thing.
Yeah, kind of see-through thing. Yeah, I've got a couple of guitars that have that sort of thing, and I love that, man. Yeah, and the nod to the Highway 1, man. The Highway 1 got a lot of people started, man.
Yeah,
that was a great guitar.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I love that guitar, but when it comes to what I didn't realize, like we're talking about modding guitars, like what are some different things that you can do? What are different things about? Like our Strats, you look at them, it's like, oh, they're kind of the same. But every step of the way, we've noticed that there's different things about them.
Graphtec, string retainers, right? Still a little different thing.
Yeah.
Right? A little slicker, a little better for the trim. But again, even though it's behind the nut, you're still losing a little of that ping.
Sure.
Yeah. And you've got the traditional.
Well, and the
ones
fact
on
that
there,
also we both have two of these.
Right.
Up until the very last thing that I changed on my signature Strat, I think it was the final prototype, the last change was that I wanted to add an extra string tree. Mm-hmm. I just felt like that was what was on my Highway 1. I just always liked it.
Yeah.
A little more control.
Well, it's a lot of things, man. It's more downward pressure.
Yeah.
Right, which makes a little more tension on the strings.
Yeah.
Which also, and also you have less of that factor too, right?
Yeah.
And again, back to that, when you stop, a lot of times you can get some of that going too.
Exactly.
Man. So I mean, I've used hair ties and console tape and whatever, to try to shut some of that down when you need to. But two string trees, man. I love not having one there because it's like you can do all the behind the nut G bend and D bend stuff, and I love doing that. But this guitar just functions so much better with both of them.
Yeah. And that to me, that's the cool thing about a Stratocaster is that, they are so similar, but all these minor differences really create such different, you can watch 100 basketball players shoot free throws. They're all shooting from the same line, but they each have little different things about them that make them completely different. Or the way that they bring the ball up the court, Same position, many different approaches. I don't know if that's a great analogy, but to me it's like it is the same guitar, but there's so many minor differences that make them, I guess for those of us that are inside, like it's like, oh, you couldn't be more different than my Stratocaster. You only have 21 frets, you have the stacked pickups, you have, all these things, you have there's so many things that for us, we would say, oh my gosh, that's way different than mine. But the average person would look at me, I don't know, it's a Strat.
Yeah, his is blue.
Yeah.
Mine's red.
Yeah.
That's what most people would be looking at. But
yeah.
I mean, but think about how many different Stratocaster models they are.
Yeah.
And then, go play them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a world of difference from guitar to guitar,
Yeah.
And it's just all those things. It's the combination of all those little tiny pieces together.
Yeah. And I think that's the fun thing about this entire conversation is really, the point is, there's a bunch of little things that can be changed on instruments, whether it be a Stratocaster or anything else, that really come down to personal preference. And for me, all of these things that I came up with on this guitar to make my signature Stratocaster are things that I felt would help draw my voice out in a more compelling way and in a more effortless way. I think for those of us that are trying to find who we are on an instrument, who we are as musicians, the better we can get that out in an effortless way with as little friction as possible, allows more space and allows more creativity to flow in those things. So it's not just like, I want to play this way, but I have to adjust this thing about my guitar or the neck to kind of compensate. If you mod things or change things in a way, find something that brings out your voice in an effortless way, you can focus on the things that really matter, like creative expression, finding your own voice, expressing your own voice on the instrument.
Well said. Very well said, man. And absolutely right. I mean, that is really the point. These are tools to amplify our voice, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. This is really fun.
Man, thank you, Cory. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. It's been a real treat to talk about Stratocasters with you and all the little nuances and differences that you can make with a Stratocaster. Hopefully, if nothing else in this video, I hope that you can see that there are little differences that you can make in your instruments, in any of your gear, that can really help you find your own voice on the instrument and for you to be able to express your voice. Since we talked about my guitar, the signature Cory Wong Fender Stratocaster, if you are interested in this guitar or curious about anything else of its specs, check it out, sweetwater.com. Don't hesitate, reach out to your Sweetwater sales engineer, and they'll be able to help you.